The history of Ethereum is one that cannot be told without telling the story of MyEtherWallet. And today we are joined by the founder and CEO of MyEtherWallet, Kosala Himachandra, also known as KVH Nuke. But that's a Reddit story that we'll get to in a little bit. So, just to start things off, let's rewind way, way, way back. Kosala, how did you first get into crypto? Not even just Ethereum, but Bitcoin, crypto in general.
Yeah, that's a that's a good question. Hi everyone. So crypto journey goes back what? It's 10 years now. So at least 12 years back for me. So basically what happened was I was in college at that time, and then during my senior year I was like Bitcoin was what, like $200-300, and still can't afford it. And started reading about Bitcoin because everyone was talking about it. And then I immediately fell in love with not the actual like Bitcoin concept, but just the technology behind Bitcoin and how it's working, how distributed and decentralized networks can work together.
Mm.
Especially, I majored in computer engineering, that was very beneficial and intriguing for me. And I started reading about it. I immediately fell in love with the technology, and I wanted to do something with it, I guess. But again, like just like today, Bitcoin hasn't advanced a lot within the 10 years, but except for the value. Today there was only two things you can do. You can either exchange, or you can mine Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And as someone, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so like when you're doing all this research, when you're hearing about it, this is
Yeah.
this on like 4chan, Reddit, like the Bitcoin forums, like where are you reading about? Is this all of the people at university? Like who is like telling you
I-
this stuff that like set this off?
Yeah, so I would say, yeah, like the university people, my colleagues and people I hung out with, and also, only places that you could have read anything about Bitcoin or blockchain back in
Hmm.
the day was probably Reddit and Bitcoin Forum. I'm
Yeah,
assuming that's the
that
website
was way
name,
before
Bitcoin
my time
Forum.
and
Yeah,
Katya's time.
so there were only forums, just people, hanging out, doing their things, and talking about blockchain. And
So
yeah, so
you wanted to get involved, but you couldn't
yeah.
do anything besides exchange. So then, what was your next move?
My next move was the only other thing that you can do is mining Bitcoin.
Mhm.
At that point, I was living at an apartment, or not even an apartment. I was renting a room at a house. I believe it was like $500 or $550 a month.
Take me back
And
to those times. God damn.
I
This was
know
in LA, right?
this was in San Fernando Valley. Yeah.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, and as someone who's like, oh, I have this monthly expense, and if I can mine Bitcoin, I can hopefully like set some of it, like pay some of it away with the mine Bitcoin. So I invested $2,000 on a Bitcoin mining machine that was able to
Wow.
produce $600 a month back in the day.
Just
Just enough. So yeah, that was my first Bitcoin mining machine. It wasn't at that even at that point you can't use your computers to mine Bitcoin anymore. It was already way too difficult. You
Mm.
had to buy mining machines.
do you still have
Um,
it?
I do still have it. I'm carrying it everywhere I go. Yes.
No kidding. I want to.
Yeah.
You should send a photo later because that's great.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, I will try to find it.
Yeah, if you can find it.
Yeah. I know it's with me. I don't know where it is right now.
I like to think
And
that like your housemates or whatever were like, "Con, why is the electricity bill so high?"
luckily, that's not something I had to pay. So
Oh
Even
my
it was
better.
god.
already included. Nobody complained about it. But the complaining part was San Fernando Valley. If you guys are not familiar with LA, San Fernando Valley, it gets pretty hot. It's a summertime, and you're running your Bitcoin machine, which also produces a lot of heat. So it was double the heat for me, and that room was not livable. I had to turn it off sometimes just so that I can sleep,
Oh my
and then turn
god.
it back on when I leave, so when I'm not in the room. or like have both AC and the miner on. Like I said, I didn't have to worry about the electricity bill. So yeah, that worked out for me, and then I did use it for, I would say, almost almost maybe closer to a year.
Okay. So you definitely
And
recoup the cost on that.
um, oh yeah, I definitely did, and then because you pay off your rent with it as well.
Yeah.
So and eventually that machine could not produce enough Bitcoin, and it it's just like the difficulty went up. And if you're in Bitcoin mining industry, like every 6 months or so you have to buy new machines, and it's not going to be worthwhile for you to mine Bitcoin anymore using old machines. So yeah, so that story, that's the Bitcoin story, and that's how I got into crypto.
Awesome. And so then, obviously, Ethereum is your jam. That's where you've made your company. It's where you've kind of put a lot of your efforts. How did you first hear about Ethereum?
So when I was doing research around Bitcoin in I would say around 2016 or so, that's when Ethereum yellow paper came out. I did not understand most of the yellow paper at that point, but based on my readings, again on Reddit or Ethereum, I understood the concept of, okay, this is better than Bitcoin. Like I said, only thing you can do with Bitcoin right now is exchange, or like send and mine.
Mhm.
Versus Ethereum, even from the get go, even from the very beginning, was around this concept of smart contracts. So bringing in more utility to blockchain. So someone who just got into Bitcoin and understand the technology and distributed networks, things like that, it was very interesting for me. Okay, like this just enables more utility in the blockchain. You can do more things with it. Back in the day, we were thinking of, oh, we can create Facebook on the blockchain. That didn't happen yet. But that's kind of like the
So,
example
so
that
it's
you
good
were
to know
thinking.
that like the whole blockchain will solve this is like was there from the beginning. It's the
Day
Was
best
there for,
one.
yeah.
blockchain.
Oh yeah, yeah. Facebook was like the ultimate goal of that. Oh, we'll have Facebook on the blockchain. Making headway towards that, but I would say there's still, we are not there yet. But hey, one day you can always dream. um, but yeah, so that and starting reading about it, and then interestingly, around the same time is that's when Ethereum released the yellow paper, and then they wanted to do the pre-sale,
Mhm.
which I got into early on. So that helped me a little bit, and because I was already on the pre-sale and then holding ETH when Ethereum came out, I wanted to help people out. Basically, first of all, it's like I wanted to help myself out by like either trying to figure out how to send it, unlock my wallet, have access to my funds, and then also send it to another wallet or create another wallet, right? And at the same time, on our Ethereum, there were so many people that just basically in the exact same boat, like didn't know how to unlock their wallet, didn't know how to send it to another wallet, or even create a new wallet, because the pre-sale wallet security was kind of already, they were deprecated. So when after the pre-sale, they gave everyone who participated in the pre-sale like a pre-sale wallet, which is also a software wallet. But when they first came out, they already kind of deprecated that type of encryption and then came up with a new type of a wallet.
Of course.
So they are like, oh, okay, but this is not secure, but you should move your funds to this new type of wallet. But no one was able to transfer it using command line since they're not
Is that
familiar with it.
so is that what the Geth wallet was? Because I
Yeah,
kept hearing, because when I first joined the space, I kept hearing people talking about Geth wallets and
yeah.
like if they also, is that what it was? The
That's the
original pre-sale wallet?
No, pre-sale wallet
No?
was pre-get, and then the get
Pre-Geth,
is,
even before
yeah,
that.
even before get, and
Mm.
then so they released get with the new type of a software wallet file, and that's like the standard. I think they still use it. Didn't create a new wallet using get recently, so I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, they released get which is the first command line tool, and Neo Wallet, and it did everything back then. But unfortunately, a lot of people were not able to use command line and then figure this out. So I had some free time, so I was able to put together MyEtherWallet.com,
Define free
created
time.
the.
Like, how long did it take you to put together the first version?
I would say about 4 to 5 days.
I hate you.
But this is bare minimum. This is
Yeah.
bare minimum. Unlocking your
It's
wallet,
like it took
and
me 4 to 5 days to write about Ethereum's 10 years, and then Gosala created the whole thing in 4 to 5 days.
but yeah, it's not as sophisticated as your version of 10 Ethereum post though.
Thank
So mine was very
don't give her
simple.
that. Don't give her that praise.
It's too late. I'm never coming down from that.
I already
No,
said
that's
it. I already said it. It's live recorded. And yeah, so created that bare basic, bare minimum functionality, released it, and received a lot of hate because people thought that I'm going to steal their private keys, which is legit on Reddit. That's something that can happen. But at the same time, I always wanted everything to be open source, and then my wallet was also open source, and so people were able to go and audit the code and actually see that it's not stealing your private keys, not trying to steal your funds, and people started using it one at a
So,
time.
would you say that most of the people in the space at the time were actually able to look at the code? Because, I always think, we always say in the space, it's open, which it absolutely has to be open source. But
Yeah.
at the same time, for people to look at the open source code or look at smart contract code in an Explorer, most people, myself included, would not know what to make of it. But at that time, were most people like able to understand and say, okay, this is legit, this is actually fine?
Yeah, I would say it was like 80-20. Like 80% of them were developers, and then 20% were users, right? Or like new to Ethereum, or they just participated in the pre-sale, not necessarily developers. It definitely has switched. It's the other way around now. So 80% normal users, probably 20%, even less maybe developers right now. But back in the day, I would say, yeah, it's like 80-20, where 80% of them were developers, and they kind of understood. But they were more focused on creating like smart contracts and actually like doing things with the blockchain, versus I'm here like creating a user interface for the 20% that existed back then. So and definitely didn't have high hopes or anything. It was a hobby project, but slowly it started getting traction, and 1% to turn into 2, turn into 50, 100, and thousands, and now we have millions. So it's like it was a journey, started 10 years ago, and eventually I decided to go full time with MyEtherWallet.com. And
What was that? What was that decision like for you? Like, when were you like, yes, this is something I want to go all in on?
yeah, I would say, I mean, at that point I kind of already had an engineering job, so it was more of me going all in on Ethereum, if anything, because like I said, I had some pre-sale ETH, and I believed in Ethereum, and then I also believed in MyEtherWallet.com, and kind of knew this will lead to something. Um, I don't know how to explain it, but I felt
It was a
like
gut
this is
feeling.
it.
So there
Yeah,
wasn't like
exactly.
some magic moment where you're like, oh, my DMs on Reddit are more positive than negative. This is a nice change. I should make this my job.
I'm pretty sure that helped, and like seeing people interested in your product definitely helped. And like went to conferences like the DevCon and all that. So, and then seeing like how many people actually using your products, and then getting to talk to them in real life, those things definitely helped. And then yeah, at some point I was like, okay, this is time, and also this is something more interesting to me, and then brand new to the world. And
And
Ethereum
I'm
created smart contracts, and now we have a lot of other blockchains. But it's a new step in the whole blockchain industry.
I'm sure by that time too, like you you had all these people kind of depending on you
Yeah,
now, like on the product. And like, even
That
though
explains the gray hairs.
I mean, like, even
yes,
though it's created to be self custody, it was always self custody, remains self custody. So it's not like they would be screwed if my Ether wallet, if you moved on, because they could take their keys and use them wherever.
yeah,
But I'm sure that it was still like you had a feeling of responsibility for these thousands or tens of
yeah.
thousands of people at that time who were using this product on a daily basis, and you had to keep like an eye on it.
100%. Yeah, like security, making sure they're safe is definitely one of those things. And being one of the very first wallets in Ethereum space also meant that, okay, now you're going to be responsible for these users forever. Still to this day, I mean, as you guys know, we get like a lot of those users who got in pretty early on, and they're still using
Yeah, who
my
have been
wallet.
with us for 10 years. Yeah, they,
Yeah.
they are out there for sure.
So it's yeah, it's something. It's, I mean, I'm not gonna say like it was not stressful. It was all fun. It was definitely stressful, even to this date. Making sure like all these people, they trust you with their money, right? Sometimes it's the life savings, and that's all they got. And they, yeah, so you definitely understand the fact that they depend on you, and then you want to do everything possible you possibly can to help them out.
Yeah. So you committed full time to MyEtherWallet, and then let's kind of like fast forward a couple of years to the ICO boom.
Yeah,
That's probably what made Ethereum wildly popular.
hundred
Kind of
percent.
talk to me about what that was, because Katya and I both came into the ICO boom late, but like when that first started kicking off, and like what that was like for you and the team at the time, being the only wallet that people could use for that. What kind of talk us through that moment in history?
Yeah, it definitely it kind of happened out of nowhere. I would say it's kind of like there was a one token sale. There's
Mm.
another one, and then another one, and then all of a sudden 10, and then all of a sudden 100. So that definitely put both my Ether wallet and Ethereum on the map, 100 for sure. And it's like it kind of also helped us scale up. We did have issues back in the day. Like one time, I think I forgot exactly what token sale it was. My wallet couldn't handle the traffic, so at one point I had to like go
Oh,
back and then rewrite the whole code, so that like that's not going to happen ever again, right? So there were struggles like that for sure. It's just because most of these ICOs were done in like 10 minutes, sometimes even a couple of minutes. They just like come in and they want to, they buy, and then it's gone. Like, and then they issue the tokens. But and in the past also, I think in a way, MyEtherWallet probably made it easier for them to do the ICO sales, because they didn't even have to have their own interface or anything like that. They could have simply been like, oh, by the way, go to MyEtherWallet, put this
And they
contract.
knew that the buyers would be there, because
Yeah,
I'm sure, like, even with the ETH pre-sale, if my Ether wallet didn't exist, maybe fewer people would have been able to do it, or would have been willing to try,
yeah,
even without having that tool. So definitely, like, knowing that there's a tool out there that everyone uses and they'll be able to use it gives you more confidence that
huh,
like people will buy your token.
for sure, yeah, for sure. And then it just helped them. I mean, nowadays you can like there are tools and like aggregators to find all the tokens that you own, but back in the day nothing like that existed, so they manually had to put their token address to see their token balances, things like that. So it was still like they had to follow a couple of steps, but they knew the tool, they knew how to do it, so users were able to just go put their token address, say, yeah, I'm buying this, send this much to the contract, and then I'll get the tokens in return. So it's yeah, it was wild west sometimes, because you just know you created this tool, but you don't know exactly whether all these token projects were legit,
Hmm.
right? And I mean, nowadays you can see the same thing with different chains. Like there are L2 chains, like it's coming up every day, and then they're doing the whole token thing all over again. But it's just, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the users to understand um, the risks surrounding, like risks around it. And I mean, there are certain projects nowadays that literally mean projects. It's a gamble. You put your money into token, and then you have to figure out when are they gonna like drop the tokens or leave,
Yeah,
dump it and then leave, and you just have to dump it before they do it. So it's literally a gamble now. But luckily, it wasn't like that in back in the day. But unfortunately, a lot of those token projects did not survive, which means some people definitely lost some money, who participated in the ICO,
yeah,
and some people definitely made a lot of money.
for
So
sure. I wish
it
I
goes
was one
both
of them.
ways.
So kind of what I'm hearing is like a great emphasis on product that's very user friendly. I mean, that was kind of from the outset. If we fast forward from the ICO boom to 2 years later, is when you guys launched the mobile application. Got to talk me through the ideation through completion of Mu Mobile.
Yeah, there's a great story around that as well. Basically, one day, this at this point we had our own subreddit, our MyEtherWallet.
Brag about
So
it.
um, I'm not sure how to brag, but everyone was amazing. But yeah, one day um, on the subreddit, there was a person who was talking shit about myetherwallet.com. That
You're like
person
the
was,
haters are back. Oh God.
yeah, he was like, and then like that's something interesting. That's not something you get to read every day,
Well, wait, what shit was he talking? Like
He
roughly.
was, yeah, especially referring to how our user interface sucks. It's
Mhm.
basically like it's not good. It's pretty, technical oriented. It's meant for devs, and it's not like very user friendly. Blah blah blah. And it's like, and I was like, oh, okay, very interesting. I would like to talk to this person. Luckily, that person was, his name is Alex. Alex was in town, in LA.
Oh,
Not not
really?
not
Like
not when
right
he wrote.
around then?
Yeah, not when he wrote it, but like maybe 2-3 weeks after that. And we were like, yeah, would like to meet you in person and then like talk about it. And we all went
I would like to meet you
to
in person so I could kill you.
yeah.
How dare you talk shit?
I don't think that crossed my mind, but
Okay.
it could have gone either way
He
after
drove
meeting.
Alex out to the desert, you know how they do in the movies. And
Yeah,
So
that
you
that
met
was an
up.
option. Yeah, we met up, we went to dinner, and then we started talking about how we can improve. And you immediately, knew, like, after talking to him, how like enthusiastic he is, like how he want to actually change, and how much experience he has in the space. Not in the space, but like in user interface area, user experience side of things. He's one of the people who created, one of the top applications in Apple Store. So it definitely like brought more credibility to this person who talked shit about my wallet. And then at the end of that conversation led to creating a mobile app for
so,
me.
so let me ask you, because I never knew about this. Like, I know that he was criticizing the web interface, but
Yeah.
was he always coming from a place of like it has to be a mobile wallet, or did it start out with him like what suggesting improvements to the web, and then how did you get? Because I know that
Yeah.
later we all agreed that mobile is a future, that users were increasingly
Yeah.
transitioning to mobile for all their needs, and we focused a lot on the mobile application going forward.
Yeah.
But like, how did that? What did you guys say to each other? How did it come about that like it has to have a mobile app now?
I think it's mostly like our whole dinner we were talking about how to improve the website.
Hmm.
And then, if I recall correctly, on the way back, we were walking back to the office. We were like, oh, by the way, like we are also thinking of creating mobile app because the world is going towards the mobile app. And he was like, oh, I actually have a whole team that can create mobile apps if you guys want to um, get into that space. And then we are like, wait, really? Like, yeah, that will expedite the whole process of creating a mobile app. And
Alex totally inceptioned you.
yeah,
Like,
totally. Like that's his way of still talking about the web, and then eventually be like, oh, actually, I'm here to create a mobile app for you. Um,
Surprise!
yeah, and yeah, it totally worked. And based on what I heard, he did the exact same thing to a couple of other projects. But those people,
It's his BD strategy right
yeah,
there.
literally. But those projects just outright said no to him. They're like, no, we have our UI or UX people in house. We don't need like outside help. So
I
um,
had no idea he tried that elsewhere. That's
yeah, he
amazing.
did. He did. I can give you the names later. I don't think we have
Okay.
to. We have to say that on this, but yeah, so he definitely he was extremely beneficial, and then he created the mobile app, which is MyEtherWallet. That's on Android and iOS now with a lot of millions of users, and it's thriving. And we still do believe that mobile will be the future, especially since not everyone has access to a desktop. If you look at the world, and over in US, we're lucky. We have at least a laptop and a phone, most of us. But like, if you look at the world, like they have access to a smartphone, but not necessarily a computer.
Right.
So we do believe that that's going to be the future. That said, myetherwallet.com is here to stay. It'll always have access to pre-sale wallets and private keys. One of the when I do get a lot of hate because of that as well, meaning like, oh, it's not a very a secure way of accessing your wallet, but you still have it. Why do you still have it? Unfortunately, the truth is, if we take it out, those people will go on Google and be like, how can I access my Ether wallet? And then probably most likely end up on a phishing site where they'll lose all their funds. So in order to prevent that, and especially since we know those users depend on us, we'll have it available for them. But there are other ways that said they can migrate to like our extension encrypt, and that's which more secure. And they can migrate to a mobile wallet, me wallet.
That's a great
Which is
segue. Let's talk about Encrypt, which is our multi-chain wallet. Kind of talk to me about, because you're far smarter than me 5 times over. Talk to me about the multi-chain future, as someone that's been here since day one, and your thoughts behind leaning into this with Encrypt, and kind of what the you kind of broadly see the future of this company being.
Yeah, so multi-chain is definitely, I see a lot of ICO, like it just replays in the back. It's like deja vu to me sometimes, um, because all of a sudden now, instead of issuing a new token, now everyone's creating their own chain and then using their token. So, which is, I don't believe that's like the proper way to move forward, but unfortunately, that's what's happening. Because
Mhm.
when I say not the proper way, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm all for like L1s and even L2s that brings more features to the ecosystem. But like, there are a lot of L2 chains out there. It's the exact same thing, and then their only feature is, oh, our gas fees are less. I'm like, that's because you don't have users. You don't have transactions. If you have transactions, your gas fees will go up because you're using the exact same stack, exact same technology. There's nothing preventing it from gas fees going up. And then sometimes they're like, oh, we have like sub-second block times. It's also because you don't have enough transactions, because you're not actually hitting these scalability issues. Ethereum is started hitting the scalability issues because it has ton of transactions, right? um and then that's why the gas fees were high. And then overall, like, over so many hard folks now, like, it's sub 1 GWay gas fees all the time. And even though, and then we are handling like a lot more transactions. So, and then I also think Ethereum is going towards the future. It can, like, on L1 chain, like Ethereum main chain, can handle a lot more transactions as well. So it should be about bringing more features to the ecosystem, rather than just focusing on scalability and gas fees.
Hmm.
Because, when Ethereum first came out, it brought like the whole concept of smart contracts. And I that's what I want to see in like other chains as well. Either like make smart contracts more simpler for users. Any like day to day user can use a smart contract, or somehow figure out a way to use like human biometrics instead of a private key. I
Ooh.
know, like, it's easier to say than done, but like more usable features. That's what we are missing out. But that said, I do believe, there are, like, I last time I checked, there are 800 plus L2 chains,
Hmm.
and none, like, maybe only 1% of this will survive in the next 10 years. But there are other, like, lot of L1 chains that are coming out, and, like, for example, like Solana is doing really well, Cardano is doing really well, Sui is doing really well. So those chains, and they're bringing in more outside features than Ethereum. So, like, we wanted to create one wallet for all these chains, including the 800 chains, because we don't know which chains will survive.
Hmm.
And unfortunate truth is, somehow developers think creating a new wallet for each of these chains is the way to go. But there's no way we can onboarding a single, I mean, you guys know, onboarding a single user to one wallet is already, like, extremely complicated. Now imagine onboarding, let's take half the population, 4 billion users, to 800 wallets. That's not going to happen.
Hmm.
So our goal is to
And even
create
if it
one
did,
wallet.
it would be so much less secure for
Exactly,
both the
like,
users and the space generally.
yeah. And then there will be so much more, like, confusion and already complicated process. You never know, like, where they use the same key, did they reuse the same key, things like that. So our goal is creating one wallet that can handle all these different chains.
So it's
And
almost like the ICO thing again, except now Encrypt is one wallet for all the chains
all the
instead of all the
chains, and
ICOs.
with lot more features. So yes, yeah, you can think of it that way. So I see I saw what happened in the past and learn from it, and then creating something similar for the future.
Well,
So
speaking
yeah,
of the
for the
future,
next,
give us the blue
yeah.
sky. Like, where are we going from here? Where's my Ether wallet going from here? No holds barred in the next few years.
I think MyEtherWallet will be all including, so Encrypt is right now our multi-chain wallet, and then I think and but it also serves a different purpose of it can act as a wallet, but it's also the gateway to dApps, all the different dApps, right? Like
Hmm.
like it's not just Ethereum dApps anymore. So there are like Solana dApps, there are other chain dApps. So Encrypt is the gateway for you to access all your dApps, and MyEtherWallet Web will be your portfolio manager where you can access, you name it, NFTs, tokens, and all that. And Mi Wallet is your on-the-go product. Um, Pretty soon you'll see all of these combined into one. So, like, instead of having like three separate wallets, you can, you know, use it across the same address, I guess, and then same way that instead of having multiple different accounts, you can just have one account across all three products, since they are like specific to us, that working towards the, I guess, that accessing different set of features in the blockchain. So that's what you'll see soon. And I think for the next 10 years at least, multi-chain would play a bigger role.
Hmm.
And let's see which chains will win, and then which chains will bring new features. And then what I can promise right now is my wallet will be there to support those new features, and then give users access to the awesomeness that blockchain has to offer.
I love it. Well, I know I'm grateful, and I'm assuming Katya is grateful that you were on Reddit instead of paying attention to university and being like, what's this Bitcoin stuff? Because of those actions, we're here today, and this company 10 years in is thriving, and it's phenomenal to see. And I'm excited for the next 10 years. Thanks for everything. Let's get back to building, shall we?